Okay, we are live, and it's Mr. Lou Martin here, full of Irish sunlight with my new old friend, or my old new friend, as the case may be, Henrietta. Henrietta, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, thanks. Very happy to be speaking with you today, Lou.
Thank you, thank you. Well, we were just, you've had so many adventures just today. Do you want to share your initiation today here with everyone, and catch us up on
Sure.
what life in Egypt has been like for you?
Sure. So my news for the day.
Yes, you have a good
um,
story for today.
yeah, so I was doing some heavy lifting last night and this morning, and I went out to get some fresh air and go for a little walk in the wheat fields. And as soon as I opened the front door, a black snake was slithering under my bare feet. So that was quite a shock and a surprise for the
Yes,
morning.
yes.
Hmm.
And what kind of snake do we think that was?
I don't know. I've been looking it up online. It's
Okay,
quite unusual these days to see a snake in Egypt, even though
right.
it's all over the temples and very, present in the symbolism here. There's,
Okay.
snakes and serpents, but it could have been a cobra. It was
Yeah,
black.
yeah, yeah. Well, you've earned my respect once again, my friend. That's amazing. So, and you were saying this was really symbolic of you transcending some dark energies that had been coming up, this kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. Some deep things were coming up actually this morning related to Egypt and black magic. A lot of black magic used to be used and still is used here in Egypt. So, a lot of the places that I come, it's really about bringing light and awareness and clearing to these dark energies to reinstall the new template or the ancient template, the original operating system. So we want to be in a real field of integrity right now, and
Yeah.
that's like the main message that I've been getting this week is there's no time or space for anything else but 100% truth and integrity, and being really strong and powerful in that.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, we chatted, I think, when you were getting ready to go to Uluru. Yeah, is my recollection. And I read on your page that you've said that in the last 2 years you've been to 7 sacred sites doing activations in preparation for this time of 2020. And you've obviously had some incredible adventures in Egypt. Are there any that you'd like to share with people?
Yeah, there's quite a few. There's three specific ones, but before I dive into them, I'll just reconnect the Uluru piece.
Yeah.
I haven't thought about Uluru for a while, but yeah, that was a really huge marker point on a planetary level. Uluru and the Saturn-Pluto conjunction, January
Right.
12.
Right.
So that's when I was there, and a lot of other people were there too.
Yes, I
um,
recall the day. Yeah, now that you say it, yes.
yeah, Yeah, so I did a transmission from there at that time, and it was also, anchoring new templates, and it was really powerful. And from there, I was given the guidance that it's a green light to now go to Egypt and do the same thing for equinox. So the pyramids at equinox, which was my guidance, so I was there for that, and it was really, really strong energies. And I've been traveling and working with a guardian through this time, which has been really beautiful and supportive, for protection, and also guardianship while I do my thing and, open portals and stargates for ceremonies. It's really powerful. So to have that support has been just amazing. But the pyramids at equinox was really strong. And before that moment, I'd done Lower Egypt, Middle Egypt, and Upper Egypt. So I'd been traveling for 8 weeks straight
Wow.
to as many temples as possible on every single transportation mode.
Right.
And
Camels,
just
horses, everything else.
everything. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
The Nile, the boat, buses,
Wow.
trains. So I've really been around, and that was a really strong anchor point, was being at the pyramids at equinox and transmitting that out.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Um, You've been into the Great Pyramids, you were saying.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm sorry, I was kind of trying to share our chat here with other pages. I'm still working on that. But what do you think has been the most powerful experience so far? Was it what you were just talking about and I was distracted, or could you go into it with
Oh,
more?
no, I haven't got into it yet.
Okay, all right, good, good, good. Yeah,
haven't got
miles
there.
away. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Saqqara was interesting. So that's a location just near the pyramids, and it's got a real Mayan feel. There are step pyramids there. And I actually had my first experience laying in a sarcophagus,
Yeah,
which was absolutely incredible and unplanned. It just happened, and it was really, really powerful. I received a lot of soul remembering from that, and it just felt like home. The frequency and vibration of just lying in that sarcophagus was like nothing I'd experienced this incarnation. And it brought up a lot of pieces relating to past civilizations like Atlantis.
really.
So I was receiving a lot of information while I was there, and part of everything in this work that I'm doing is really merging the timelines. You know, Atlantis, Lemuria, Egypt, and Avalon
Right.
specifically. So everywhere I go, I get certain pieces and information and memories come
Mm-hmm.
through to
Mm-hmm.
help me with my work and what I'm actually supposed to be doing. So beyond that, we went to a sun disk, and there are many sun disks you may have heard around the planet that were used
Yes.
by indigenous for ceremony. And
Okay.
so a powerful ceremony took place at the sun disk, and that was really aligning the golden eagle grid, the north-south axis, and shifting that into the true north and anchoring the new ancient template, the original template, for humanity. So that was really powerful, and it's something that has been, I guess, fought over for a long time, the control. This planet was not supposed to be under the, I guess, control that it is and has been. And now we're in this shifting time where we're
Yeah.
reinstating the original templates, and we're
Yeah.
moving back and forward at the same time towards that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're my Indiana Jones, my friend. You're you know you're living in a movie. I don't know how else to describe it. But all right, since you're talking about it, which is great, and thank you. Since you're talking about control, do you want to talk about the virus and the pandemic and your take on all of that?
Yeah, so I'm not really tuned into the media right now about it. I have been when I was in Cairo. I was staying in a hotel, so there was all the screens, and so I was getting a lot of information. But I don't have a television where I am, and I'm choosing not to really tune in. I've been really going inwards this Holy Week because
Right.
it's a very special time for our own personal death and rebirth, and that's what I feel is happening on the planet right now. We're going through this collective death and resurrection. So the more
Yes.
space we can give ourselves and time to actually go through that process of dissolving, I guess, the old architecture and rebuilding the better.
Yes.
Having said that, my take on it is I'm always seeing the positives. So I'm seeing it really as an opportunity for everyone to stop. And when have we ever had this?
Sure.
And I experienced in Bali, they have this one day called Nyepi on the 24th of March where everything stops. And it's just beautiful. And I was talking to my friend about, wouldn't it be amazing to have like a global Nyepi day, like once a year or once a week even? And this is what I feel this time is for. Like, it's actually really incredible time to just stop and take stock and look within and look at our direction, look at where we've been, where we've come from, and choose how we want to move forward as a collective humanity, because we are at these choice points and there's a few timelines available, and we have the power to choose where we want to take this. And it's really each individual's choice.
Yes. Yes. Well said. Very well said. Yeah. Gosh, hon, we can just go anywhere because Egypt to me is far and away the most mystical place on the planet. Would you relate to that? There's so
I
much
really
there.
would. There is, and I hadn't really had a strong connection with Egypt before now. My mum was really into Egypt, and she would always paint Egyptian artwork and have all these books. I wasn't really into it, and until I really feel like I have to experience things for myself. And
Sure.
so since I've come here, I've been in temples, I've been with communities, locals, and also out in nature, like in the desert, and to a crystal cave actually. And so there's so much here, and I think I feel the energy, so many people have come through these temples that actually the land and the temples, I feel, needs a bit of a rest. So you may have noticed all these sacred sites around the planet are now closed for tourism. So no one's going into them. And I actually think that's really beautiful because they get so much traffic all the time. And it's really good to have a little rest and a reset.
Sure.
But for me personally, it's been just so much mystery, like deep mystery. And it's expanded in every which way direction this trip for me, and it's felt like a real coming home and a collection of all pieces coming into one. Like, I know this land, I've been here before, I know this culture, but I didn't really know it before on any level. It wasn't in my awareness until I stepped foot on the land.
So is this your first trip there?
Yeah.
Oh, and because of the brilliant, and because of the lockdown, you're in quarantine like the rest of the world?
Yeah, well, this is week 11. I was only supposed to be here for a few weeks, but I came early.
Okay.
But yeah, in March I was supposed to be out of here. But yeah, now I'm here, and I'm based here until further notice.
Okay, great. And have you been able to connect much with the people, and get to know, their sacred sites through their eyes, I would imagine, through their stories?
Yeah, definitely. And I'm living right now in a village, and there's some just beautiful community around. So, learning about the culture, the food, there's donkeys outside pulling carts and cars, and it's all very old school, and wheat fields, and it's very basic. It's also very family oriented. So family is really here, and food, and coming together. But it's quite a slow pace. It kind of reminds me of Bali a little bit when I lived there.
Great. Well, let's talk about spiritual leadership and your own story, if you like, and how you have been preparing for years for this time, and now you've really stepped into, especially having completed these 7 activations around the world, and here you are hibernating in Egypt, getting extra time in the most powerful sacred spot on the planet. I say again, it must be quite extraordinary to look at all of that from today.
Look, it is, and there is one more location that I need to go, and that is Nepal. So maybe when the lockdown lifts, I may make my way there, because that's also a special site, Mount Kailash, and it's Shangri-La. So that feels like a really important final piece to tie it all together.
Sure. Well, now it's. I mean, I've seen Lost Horizon, which is the film about Shangri-La, which was a novel that was made into a film. Do you know this book or movie?
Oh, no, I don't.
Okay, all right. Because because of course the Tibetans call it Shambhala.
Shambhala, yes.
Yeah.
It's interchangeable. Yeah.
Okay. I did not know that. But Shangri-La is very much a beautiful. You can probably find it on YouTube somewhere. A story of one man's spiritual awakening from the West, connecting to the Tibetans in Shangri-La, and Yeah, well, can you tell us what's calling you to Nepal, and what's calling you to that next site?
It's funny because it's always been on my list. It just the timing hasn't been right yet. So I just trust that. However, as soon as I came to Egypt, I started feeling Nepal, and I didn't know why. There's also links between all of these sites and these chakra points. Like a lot of the work that I've been doing has been about connecting up with Peru and Glastonbury from here. But Nepal was coming into the field really strongly, and I was like, well, maybe that's next, and it makes sense because it's the seventh one for me and my journey.
Yeah. Do we consider that the crown chakra of the planet, Nepal?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's what springs to my mind. So where is Egypt the third eye? Where does Egypt fit?
Egypt is known as the throat chakra.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Interesting.
but it's a spinning vortex. So there's chakra points and then there's vortexes. So Egypt is a vortex, and so it spins out the energy to other locations. And one of them is Nepal, also in Russia as well. So a lot of what I've been doing here has been about yeah, like booming it out from this location. It's a point of origin at this time. You know, this ancient civilization was once on the equator. It lines up, as you know, with many of the other sacred sites, and it also is an interesting location and quite important while we're going through this, you know, dimensional shift, polar shift, shift in consciousness. It's a very strong anchor point, and it's very necessary. And I often find myself in places that need balance while things are really moving and shaking outside, and harmonization. So balance and harmonization are my main focuses, but then also with that comes the transmutation of the energies that it's time to go. And then once that's happened, then it's okay, anchor the new.
Brilliant, brilliant. Did you happen to see I put a post up that I found from the Q'ero Indians? Have you heard
No,
of
I haven't
them?
seen that.
Okay, all right. I will
No.
send that. I will send that to you. Sorry, my
Great.
thing is making some clicky clacks here. Um, yeah. Well, so let's talk about the shift into higher dimensions, the fifth dimension, and the clearings that are happening. And like you were talking about earlier about the clearing of the darkness and coming into greater spiritual integrity and greater truthfulness and greater vulnerability and these kinds of energies. Do you want to say more about that?
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot to say.
Yes, I hope
First, I'll
so.
say, yeah, there's a lot. First, I'll just touch on the self-sourcing system. So, as we move from, say, 3D to 5D, we really need to activate our own inner architecture of self-sourcing. So, this time is also a time where everything is falling away that we might have depended on, or like, you know, work and jobs and routine, everything's going. So we need to look within and start self-sustaining, because that's where the true power comes in. So the Trinity consciousness that I talk about is that balance of masculine, feminine, and source. And once that is open, that's when we start self-sustaining. So we're going to see a lot more people step into entrepreneurial roles, own businesses, because this is what's really going to build the new earth. Having everyone really embodying their essence and what they're here to do,
Beautiful.
and not dependent on that external structure and system of control, which hasn't actually served. It's
Right.
served to a point, but it's really just kept people disempowered, I feel, and relying on external sources.
Yes.
So that's just been stripped away right now. And I just see it as an opportunity for really a time like, where do we want to go? How do we want to do this? Because
Yeah.
we can, like, we're really powerful creative beings. And this is the time where we get to step into that role and do something that's really going to help build this new earth.
Yeah. Beautiful, hun. When you talk about that, what comes to my mind is the trifold flame of the feminine unconditional love, the masculine divine will, and the synthesis, the inner child of wisdom, the blue, the pink, and the yellow.
Yeah.
Is that how you work with that, or how do you like to
Yeah.
play?
Well, the threefold flame, yeah, that's the foundation. That's the foundation of sacred leadership. It's love, wisdom, and power. I mean, they're all of the trinities, you know, mother, father, child, masculine, feminine source. But it's really, it's this inner marriage of the Trinity consciousness that's really wanting to come in and anchor in each one of us. And I did actually watch that video you sent me. Oh, I can't remember who it was, but it was beautiful. It was talking about the transition we're making from carbon to crystalline. So our bodies are going through.
Patricia Cota-Robles.
Yeah, it was brilliant. I just watched it before. She's brilliant.
Great,
Love
great.
her.
Oh yeah, I've been following her for years. I'm glad to introduce her to you. I'm delighted.
Yeah, she's wonderful, and she's really on point, and she has a beautiful way to communicate what's actually happening. And I think, you know, this is also another level and another layer that's happening. Like, we're actually, our physiology is changing. Like, so it is such a time of death and rebirth, and you know, we've all heard about letting go, surrender, but this is like next level
Sure.
of that, because it's unprecedented. We haven't done this before in physical forms successfully. We're bringing all of the lessons and the learnings that we're transmuting and transcending from all the ancient civilizations like Atlantis, so that we can actually, boom into the golden age together. But it's a very physical, visceral process. And as I was talking to Todd yesterday, we were talking about, you know, it's been a marathon. Like, it's not a sprint. We have moments of sprinting, but it's like, you know, we have to just like, we sprint for a bit, then we have to really pause and integrate. The integration is something that I feel is really overlooked. And that's why I feel like it's such a great opportunity while everyone is at home to really integrate what is happening. You know, these cosmic frequencies, like, they're real deal. It is happening. It's not woo-woo. It's scientifically happening.
Yes.
So of course we're affected.
Yes. Well, I'd love to hear more about that. You know, Patricia talks about, I mean, what I know myself is you know, being empathic and being intuitive and being sensitive and all these lovely things that we get to do, you know, is that we've been processing a lot of emotional energy for the planet.
Yes.
You know, and especially the month of March, which was just absolutely the deep, dark forest without any hint of light or hope. It was just really intense.
Yeah.
But now it's starting, starting to lighten up. Sorry.
No, you're right. Yeah, I mean, in agreement with that. I was traveling a lot during that time, so my focus was not so much, I wasn't feeling so much of the collective. I was literally just on the move, just doing my work full time. And now it's sort of like I'm landing and integrating back here at all of the wonderful and wild things that have occurred. And I'm just sort of integrating that and becoming still again. But one of the really incredible things, this is a story that I do really want to share.
Sure.
It was an adventure to a crystal cave. So the guidance was actually going to the White Desert and actually performing a ceremony, a sacred ceremony in a crystal cave 30 meters underground. And so this was, it was 10 hours, four-wheel driving through the sand dunes and the desert and the limestone. It used to be a seabed when the sea was there. So there's all these huge limestone structures. It's quite incredible. But there's many crystal caves. So this one particular crystal cave, we went in and lit all these candles. And it was a really, really strong ceremony. It only lasted 30 minutes. But what happened after that ceremony, and that was new template anchoring, was basically a storm cell developed over the cave and then followed us to Cairo and flooded the whole of Cairo, shut down The
Wow.
trains, the buses, the airports, and the whole pyramids got flooded. So it was a huge cleanse, and it's very unusual. But it
That's
was,
amazing.
yeah,
That's incredible.
I know. It was quite wild.
Yeah, sweetheart, you are just too much, you know. Bless you, bless you.
I
Do,
know,
do,
I know, too much, right?
well, it's great. I mean, you know, life would seem so dull without these exciting adventures that you're living. You know, do you know Drunvalo Melchizedek?
I do. I've read two of his books, Flower of
Okay,
Life 1 and 2. Yeah,
okay, all
yeah.
right, good. Well, I'm all right. So I get to give you another one, which is called
Okay.
Serpent of Light.
Okay. I'll write that one
Yes.
down.
Or I can send it to you, but yeah, it's basically his stories. I mean, this is what you reminded me of, Henrietta. It's his stories of of going to all the indigenous cultures that he was guided to connect with around the world. And I mean, there must be he's done this literally hundreds of times now, but the stories that he shares in Serpent of Light was about basically, and actually this will connect with Nepal, was about shifting the Kundalini energy of the planet from Nepal to South America, to Cusco, I think, if I have that
Yep.
right, or Lake Titicaca,
Yep.
somewhere in
Correct.
there. Yeah,
Lake Titicaca.
yeah. But anyway, you know, like yourself, he is given these signs all the time, you know, by nature, by spirit, you know, telling him, go this way, talk to these people, do ceremony, see if it's accepted. Oh, there's the condor, it's accepted, and on we go, you know. So, hun, you're definitely a bridge maker for all of us, myself included, between these worlds, between the indigenous and the Western world, between the you know what I'm saying here, yeah? To,
Yeah. It's like it's a bridge. Yeah, I'm basically bridging worlds.
right,
So I'm connected to both simultaneously,
right.
and that's my point of navigation
Yes,
and
and
service.
it's quite incredible. May I just tell you that you have that? Do you also know? And it's one of the reasons I'm so grateful for our connection here. Do you have that? Do you know little grandmother Keisha Crowther?
No,
Okay,
I've heard of her,
okay.
but I don't know her.
There's another one I can
Okay,
introduce you
great.
to. Okay, she's
Yeah.
very much that way as well. She's American, but she lives in Amsterdam now.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm just trying to get the clicky clacky stopping on my end here if I can.
Yeah, I can hear it. I can hear it too. I was wondering if it was mine.
No, I'm Is that better? Can you
I
hear
think
me?
so. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I don't know where it's coming from. Anyway, no, it's still there.
It's still
I
there.
thought it was It's still there. I thought it was my headset. I don't know what the deal is.
A little bit of interference. Gotta love it.
Yes, exactly. We're here for the contrast. So, this is to me the future, Henrietta. It is, and this is part of what the Karo Indians are saying. They particularly say in their message, which I'll send to you, that the West must take responsibility for making amends to Mother Earth.
Yes.
So, someone like yourself is able to teach us how to do that. Any suggestions?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I feel like I just want to take people on journeys. You know, I feel like it's experiential. So it's just taking people on journeys, and you know, because I've been doing it for so long, I'm able to hold that space, and it's really just so people can get a physical, visceral experience of the worlds merging,
Sure.
and you know, their spirit and soul talking, and them seeing the signs right in front of their faces, and just having that guidance and support and confirmation that, you know, this is actually real. And this is the magic of living on the planet. And we should really be enjoying it together and taking these adventures and supporting each other. And, you know, that's my highest joy. So that's my offering to people, is really sharing that, you know, and that's what I'm looking at doing, you know, videos and, you know, online tours as well while there's this lockdown going on. My books are in process, and taking people to physical places on physical journeys, because I think that's the main thing now. It's getting people offline and into physical groups and having experiences and journeys and adventures to these sacred locations.
Sure, sure. Yes, and I would like to experience that with you as we've talked about. That would be brilliant. To me, it's, you know, the one thing from my guides is the Earth is a heart, Earth, and when we open our hearts in love and reverence, you know, then Mother Earth raises her vibration to meet us, you know, and then we create a sacred space. And when we're doing ritual or prayer or ceremony, you know, that just builds and builds.
Yeah, exactly. And I'd like to also add a third one to that, because the connection that I use is really the heart of Gaia, the heart of human, and then the galactic heart, the heart of the galactic center. So we're actually bridging the three through the vertical. And that feels like that's a really foundational practice of mine, is bridging and connecting to the earth and the heavens through the human heart. It's very simple.
Brilliant. So how did you get introduced to the galactic?
It was a progression and a process. Like once I really got in touch with myself and my own soul and the earth connection, then the galactic or the heavenly realms started opening up, and I started receiving from there. So it was really the first step was really anchoring to the earth and connecting and really becoming and feeling like, you know, the earth and I am one,
Yeah.
and we share the heartbeat. And so once that connection was established, yeah, I really opened up to the galactic, and even, you know, more recently opened up to galactic astrology, which is just, do you know galactic astrology? Yeah, this might be, yeah, a really interesting avenue for you. Yeah, I know. Yeah. So there's quite a few practitioners. Oh, the names have just, oh, I can't think. Graham Forsket, he's one galactic astrologer that I know, and I have a few practitioners that have done readings for me as well. And it's really next level, because galactic astrology, it's also like 13 star sign astrology. It includes the divine feminine. So the 12 star stops at the 12 and loops, and the 13 really opens something galactically. So we're looking at, yeah,
Right.
other systems.
Yes. Is that Ophiuchus, which is also the serpent? Is that the 13th star system?
Yes, that's right. Yep.
Okay. All right. I could
Yeah.
pull that out of my hat. But that's all that comes to mind so far. But I'm fascinated with that.
Yeah, I think you'd be really interested, because my whole chart shifted. So like it flipped, and everything, like it was a challenge to actually be open to it, because it was so different to what I'd been told and I'd been studying and learning about astrology for so long. Yeah. And it really just shifted everything, and it made a lot of sense. But for me, that galactic or 13 star sign astrology, it was a very specific timing when I was ready for that initiation to come in and for it to be shared with me, so that then I could take the next step in my journey. Because it was like a whole book closed and then a whole another one opened. And I think this is what we're experiencing on the planet right now. It's like that book is coming to a close. From 2012 to 2020, we've closed that chapter, and now it's a new book or a new library.
Sure. Yeah.
And So that was my experience with the Galactic Astrology. That was part of opening that new book.
Great, great. Do you know Stephen Greer?
No.
Okay, so he's another one I can send your way. I don't know him personally, but I think you would connect with him very, very deeply. So he had a near-death experience at 17, and then he started meditating quite devotedly, and then he became a medical doctor, an emergency room medical doctor, and then he started getting contact with the ETs, and now he takes people out for vision quests to beautiful places in nature where they pray and meditate, and the ETs come down and connect with them.
Yeah. Beautiful.
So I'd say the two of you are in a similar line of work. Yeah. Right, right.
It sounds like it. Yeah.
Brilliant, brilliant. Well, Hun, what else would we like to share about? Let's talk about your sacred leadership and how people can connect with you. I want to make sure we get that said here before we finish up.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, my website is going to be coming out on Friday. So that's been a process, and I'm going to be setting up a membership portal for sacred leadership. And this is going to be a paid portal where I'm going to be sharing specifics on what's actually happening on the planetary levels, specific pieces to my journey and how it relates to the collective, which I don't share so much openly on my platform because it's quite sacred and it's quite specific. And so I want to just create a really sacred container that is extremely pure and full of integrity in terms of a space for sharing, because I feel that's really important to create. So that is coming. And of course, my sessions, I'm still offering sessions to people here from Egypt. So I'm still seeing my clients, and I'm in a really powerful spot energetically. So that's also quite beneficial for my sessions and for people receiving that around the planet right now.
Brilliant, brilliant. Well, yeah, I mean, again, I could just chat with you all night or all day or whatever it is here, but I am so grateful for everything you're sharing with us. Is there anything you want to finish up with before we pull the plug? Anything else you'd like to say or share?
I think I just wanted to reference Abydos Temple. I'm not sure if you've heard of Abydos. That was a really powerful spot just within the journey. And yeah, that involved opening a Stargate. So part of my work sometimes, and this is what I just wanted to bring to awareness, is, yeah, opening Stargates. And so it's been a practice over time, specific. It's not like I go around doing it all the time. It's very specific, but it's also anchoring new templates and higher octaves of frequency and information into certain sacred sites and the planet for the future. So for a future timeline to be reactivated and opened up. So I just wanted to share that one, and I've just written about that experience, which was probably the most profound I've had here in Egypt, was Abydos Temple and what actually occurred there. But that's something I feel not to really speak. It's a writing, so that will be in my book, and I may share a little bit on social media. But just that's been my next level here, is really working with the Stargates.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, all right. Thank you for that. That was extremely generous.
That's okay.
Yeah. So what's coming to my mind, you've said that, well, two things. One is you shared a beautiful moment at Luxor, I think it was, where you and two other women were walking towards the temple and someone was filming you. And that was beautifully done. But Luxor to me also seems extraordinarily powerful from just looking at that.
Yeah, it really is. And since being here, I've been given some information about the significance of Luxor right now on the higher levels. And yeah, I will share that. I'm not I'm not guided to share that all right now, but it's a very very important place right now. It's no mistake that I'm in lockdown here.
Okay. Okay. You're near Luxor right now, you're saying.
Yeah, I'm nearby. Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm near that temple that the video was filmed. It's Hatshepsut Temple, which is a
Okay.
Trinity gate.
Okay.
So there's a lot of temples and sites around here. And it's also on the Nile.
Right. Right. Does Mary Magdalene feature much in what you're connecting with in Egypt?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Sure. I'm just thinking of Mary Magdalene for some reason. Does she come up at all in what you're connecting with in Egypt?
Yeah, it's funny. Yes, I've really felt that presence and that energy here, and like really deeply and strongly. And I've recalled some of the books that I've read where, you know, she travels through Egypt, her and Yeshua together, and that's definitely been coming up along the journey and at certain sites specifically. And then we also have, you know, the Isis and Osiris stories. So that's also come up at certain spots for myself as well. And really, I've received a lot of information and remembering of those times. So yeah, absolutely very, very present right now.
Great, great. Well, the other one that, thank you for that. I get a lot of help as you do from time to time here. The other one is thinking of the three pyramids, the Great Pyramids, and seeing the Orion, the belt of Orion, three stars over each of the Great Pyramids. Does Orion feature a lot in your connection as well?
Yeah, it has done. I work with an energetic team in different locations, two others, and also another powerful being, Rick Dewars. He's currently in Egypt, and so we've been meeting up and doing quite a bit of work together, actually. And yeah, Orion definitely had been coming up in our conversations and in our work.
Right, and the Arcturians, the Pleiadians, the Sirians. So
Everyone,
everyone, good, the whole family. Okay,
everyone's having a party.
okay, excellent, excellent, excellent. Well, that's brilliant, hon. That's just brilliant. Well, thank you so much, Henrietta, for your time and sharing your story with us again. And so, where if people want to find you, is the best place Facebook?
I think, yeah, Facebook's the best as a starting point, and then I have links to my sessions and the membership portal that's coming out, and then website on Friday. So yeah, if you want to get in touch with me, the best starting point is personal message, and then we can take it from there.
Great, great. All right, sweetheart. Well, thanks a million. I'm glad you're well, and all my love, and we'll talk again soon, I hope. Okay.
Yeah, thanks, Lou. It's always a pleasure to chat with you. So thanks. Appreciate
Okay.
it.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Peace, peace.
Bye.